What's up, YouTube world? My name is Kevin McLeod, and welcome to another episode of The Man That Never Walked In. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about God. You know, for me, who's been brought up in a family that, is very humble, very Christian, truly believes in God, I always wonder, what is God? As I go on my walks and when I go running outside, or even when I'm working out, I wonder, man, the stars, the moon, the sun, the earth, all that's amazing to me, and I just can't believe God created everything. And I know it's a lot of non-believers out there, and I've actually spoken to a lot of non-believers, and their biggest thing is, well, how did God create himself? That question I don't know, but honestly, I think about it all the time. That interests me so much. Where did God come from? How did he create himself? And that's only, he has the answer to that. Maybe he might tell you one day if you ask him, say, God, how did you create yourself? Or where did you come from? Maybe he might show you. Maybe he might show me one day. Who knows? Hey, there's no harm in asking. But you have to realize, for the people that are non-believers, how can you explain all of this? How can you explain that sun that's out there? You can give me any scientific theory, but a scientific theory is nothing but a statement that man created. But really look at it. Look at the earth. Look at the very first man that walked the earth, the very first woman. Where did the very first man come from? Man didn't create himself. A woman didn't create herself. Animals, dinosaurs, squirrels, birds, whales, sharks, all these different animals and creatures, they had to be created from somewhere. Everything was created from God. And it's so interesting to me. And I think what the biggest issue with God is, and God knows what I mean when I say this, a lot of people don't look at God as quote unquote cool. You have a group of people and you talk about Michael Jordan or LeBron James, they think that's cool. You see a car with rims on it, you may think that's cool. A guy has on shiny jewelry, you may think that's cool. But a lot of people don't look at God as cool. You think of church, oh my goodness, I have to pray and read scriptures and everything. A lot of people see that as boring, but at the same time, it's so interesting. God created the earth. How is that not cool? There's nothing cooler than that. For me, in my own personal opinion, I think God is the coolest thing ever. So what I think for me as a leader, I need to put myself in a position where I can make God cool, where kids are interested to read the Bible. And the Bible, when you look at it, certain scriptures, they may be confusing, and there may be certain parts that you may not understand, but you have to admit, that book is just so interesting. All the things it talks about, from all the commandments, love and peace, and all the stories in there, it's just so interesting. And it's like a puzzle, it challenges your mind. You can't just read the Bible, you have to actually study it. And that's the difference. I think people, if you take the time to actually study it, and I'm actually in the process of studying it now, if you take the process to study it, then I think it will become more fun, more cool, more interesting. But you have to wonder, why has it been around all these years? It's not just here for show and tell. You know what I mean? That book, it has to have some meaning. It has to have history behind it. It has to have some kind of purpose to have been around here for so long. And I just want everyone to get closer to God. You have to understand that God has feelings too. When you don't spend time with God, that hurts his feelings. That's just like if you have a father and he really cares about you and you don't spend time with him. Or if you have a mother and she really cares about you and you don't spend any time with her, you don't think it's going to hurt their feelings? That's not going to bother them? That's not going to affect them in any kind of way? No, it's going to hurt their feelings. You want to spend time with God, and God wants to spend time with you. And it was so many times where I avoided God, where I needed to read my Bible, I needed to go to church, pay my tithes and offerings, and I just kept prolonging it and pushing it off. Oh, I'll read my Bible later. Oh, I'll read it tomorrow. Oh, I'll read it a few days from now. And then next thing you know, it's been months and I haven't read my Bible. I haven't prayed to God. I've just been so distant. But I realized is, how can I make it in life if I don't communicate with God? God created me. The life that I live, God sees everything that I do. He created me. He already knows what I'm gonna do before I do it, so why not spend time with him? He knows where I'm going in life. He knows my purpose. He knows why he put me here, excuse me. So why wouldn't I go to him first and foremost? We go to man for so many things, and there's nothing wrong with reading those motivational books and watching those motivational videos. I like when you watch my motivational stuff. There's nothing wrong with watching Les Brown, Eric Thomas, all these motivational people. But before you go to them, you need to seek God. We listen to man when they say something, but when God tells us something, we don't listen. But God created man, so that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So we really need to focus and just lock in on God and really seek him for what we want in life and really figure him out. You know, like ask him, like, God, who are you? What are you? You know, what's the history behind it? And I know he'll reveal it to you. And I'm such a firm believer in God because he's been there so much in my life. You know, from the time where I was in the military and I was in the hospital for 4 days with pneumonia, I thought I was on my deathbed. You know, times I failed tests in the military that could have honestly got me kicking out. I passed those tests. I could have been, you know, still an alcoholic, still strung out on drugs. You know, my marriage, it could have been dead and gone. It's just so much that I've been through. It's just so much pain and misery. But the thing about it, every time I was going through this pain, every time I was going through this misery, every time I was going through this frustration, I always went to God and I said, God, help me. Help me get out of this situation. Help me overcome alcohol. Help me overcome drugs. Help me overcome my frustration, my depression, my low self-esteem. And it's funny because every time I prayed to him, he may not have came right when I wanted him, but he was always on time. Every time. It never failed. So I'm just a firm believer. So I really want you guys to just believe in God, trust in God, seek God, and he will seek you. And everything will work out. You know, a lot of our issues, they can be solved if we just seek God about it. You know, I think, and this includes myself, you know, I think we have a lot of pride. You know, we try to do things on our own, especially men. We try to do things on our own. We don't want to seek help. We don't want anyone to tell us anything. We think we're big and bad. We can do it by ourselves. But I hate to bust your bubble. Without God, you're nothing but dust. You know, you're nothing but what you first came from. So you can act as big as bad. You can think you're a quote unquote God. I see so many celebrities say, "Oh, I'm a God. I'm this. I'm that." If you a God, how come if a bullet hit you right now, you would die? It's just something for you to think about. You know, explain that to me. You know, like if you a guy, if a bullet hits you, God forbid, but if a bullet hits you, you gonna die. You know, there's a time where you will die. If you a guy, you live forever. So I don't know why people call themselves guys. I guess it's just to boost their ego or whatever the case may be, but you're not a guy. There's only one guy. So stop worshiping these celebrities. Stop worshiping other people. I don't even want people to look at me. Like, if you look at me as a motivational speaker in your life, that's great. But don't look at me as an idol. Look at me as someone you look up to, someone you may want to follow as a leader, but don't idolize me. You know, only idolize God. And I won't take responsibility for that because God's not about to hold me accountable, you know. So it's just something for you guys to think about. Become closer to God and he'll become closer to you. And, you know, I may not know you, but I love you all. And as my favorite quote goes, God is love and love is God. Thank you.